containing North Korea's nuclear ambitions and narrowing the trade imbalance with Beijing, topped the U.S. president's list when he took office. So what happened? By Kerry Huang, the 21st of January 2018, when Donald Trump took office as the 45th President of the United States 1 year ago, he put trade and North Korea on the top of his diplomatic agenda with China. For years, the huge U.S. trade imbalance with China has been a major hindrance in relations between the world's two largest economies. Trump was also desperate to clamp down on North Korea's nuclear ambitions as the reclusive regime was at the threshold of acquiring weapons of mass destruction. Fears over dramatic changes and discord between the U.S. and China surfaced after Trump used his inaugural speech to pillory the ravages of countries that had stolen American jobs. Trump also rattled the diplomatic world by suggesting he would negotiate Washington's decades-long one-China policy in exchange for concessions by China on the Korean issue, which Beijing strongly opposed. However, fears dissipated after a warm April summit between Trump and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping at Mar-a-Lago, his opulent private club in Palm Beach, Florida, during which both self-styled strongmen cultivated a bromance with great chemistry. This chemistry strengthened during Trump's state visit plus trip to China in November. The businessman-turned-U.S. politician was apparently courting his Chinese peer in the hope of using trade as leverage to win Beijing's help on the North Korean issue. Trump's move to abandon Obama's China-unfriendly pivot to Asia diplomacy and the China-excluding Trans-Pacific Partnership also presented a set of positives to China. But 1 year on, such calculated goodwill has obviously failed to create momentum in solving differences between the two nations. Trump's vanishing act, a metaphor for the U.S. in Asia on trade, both governments failed to narrow the imbalance. The overall U.S. trade deficit not only rose under Trump, it hit a record. On Friday last week, China reported its largest ever surplus with the U.S., $275.8 billion in 2017. In a telephone conversation on Monday, Trump expressed his disappointment about this, telling Xi the growing trade deficit was not sustainable. The call came amid talks of a trade war, as the administration gears up to announce a string of actions, including possible tariffs. U.S. investigators claim China is distorting trade and hurting U.S. firms and workers. On North Korean, Trump's strategy to court China also failed, as shown by Kim Jong-un's New Year's Day announcement that his nuclear program was complete. Last year, Pyongyang conducted 15 ballistic missile tests and its sixth and most powerful nuclear test. Recently, Trump told The Wall Street Journal that Xi wasn't doing enough to clamp down on North Korea. Overall, it seems U.S.-China relations turned sour during the rollercoaster ride of Trump's first year in office. Now, two recent developments might reflect the Trump administration's evolving relationship with China. First, in his first national security strategy released recently, Trump labeled China as a strategic rival that was seeking to erode U.S. security and prosperity. Second, the recent grouping of the four like-minded democracies of the U.S., Japan, India and Australia, known as the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue (Quad), seems to be a U.S.-led alliance to check China's assertiveness and contain its rise. Despite talk and gestures of goodwill, the latest developments might signal a new era of Cold War-style competition between the world's two top political adversaries, the leading free democracy and last major communist-ruled power. Forget the Xi-Trump bromance. It's time the U.S. came clean on its vision for China and Asia. Kerry Huang, a senior writer with the South China Morning Post, has been a China affairs columnist since the 1990s.